Have you ever felt the ground shift beneath your feet, even when nothing obvious has changed? A quiet feeling that the story you thought you were living might not be the whole truth. It happens when something familiar suddenly feels fragile, or a belief you've carried for years starts to crack. In those moments, we often reach for something solid. We want to believe that some things can't be erased, that some truths are strong enough to survive time, violence, and forgetting. This quiet longing sits at the heart of the book that wouldn't burn. The title itself feels like a promise, a story that survives against all odds. But this novel isn't just about a physical book or even a vast library. It's about knowledge, identity, and the fragile human desire to protect meaning in a world that seems determined to tear it apart. It's a story that asks, what happens when the things that define us are placed in danger? And what do we become when survival depends not on strength, but on memory, curiosity, and the courage to keep learning? Mark Lawrence is known for writing stories that live at the intersection of intellect and emotion. His worlds are often harsh, shaped by violence and power struggles. But in the book that wouldn't burn, Lawrence steps away from traditional fantasy battlefields and builds something quieter, and in many ways, more unsettling. The story is centered around a seemingly endless library. This isn't a comforting, candlelit place of study. It's a vast, oppressive structure filled with rules, dangers, and secrets. The library isn't just a setting, it's a force, a presence that shapes the people who live within it. This novel feels like a culmination of Lawrence's fascination with knowledge and power, written at a time when information is everywhere, but understanding feels increasingly rare. We live surrounded by data, yet truth feels fragile, easily distorted. That's why this book matters right now. It isn't just about a fictional library. It's about our relationship with knowledge in an age where facts are weaponized and history is rewritten. At the center of the story are two young characters, each growing up in radically different parts of this library-bound world. One is raised inside the library, learning its rules and its quiet cruelties. The other comes from outside, from a world shaped by survival rather than scholarship. Their lives move on separate paths, yet the pull of the library draws them together. What's striking is how slowly Lawrence allows the meaning of this place to unfold. At first, the library seems like a sanctuary, a place where books are protected, but over time, cracks appear. Knowledge is controlled, access is limited, curiosity is punished as often as it is rewarded. The story doesn't rush, it drifts and explores, much like wandering through endless shelves. You begin to understand that the true conflict isn't about escaping the library or conquering it. It's about understanding what it represents, and who gets to decide what knowledge is worth saving. As the characters grow, so does their awareness. They learn that information can be a form of power, more absolute than any army. They learn that those who control stories can shape reality itself, and that sometimes the most dangerous ideas are not the loud ones, but the quiet truths buried deep within forgotten books. One of the most powerful aspects of the novel is how it portrays learning. Knowledge here is not comforting, it's heavy. It carries consequences. Every truth uncovered demands something in return. Safety, innocence, certainty. The characters are forced to ask themselves whether understanding the world is worth the pain that comes with it. The library transforms from a symbol of preservation into something more ambiguous. It is both a protector and a prison. A place where ideas are saved, but people are trapped. Where the past is honored, but the future is tightly controlled. This tension mirrors a deep human fear. We want stability. We want truths that don't change. But growth depends on questioning what we've been told. The book suggests that knowledge frozen in time becomes something else entirely. Not wisdom, but control. Several themes rise quietly but persistently. One is the idea of inherited belief. The characters are born into systems they didn't choose, where rules are presented as natural facts. This is how the world works, and questioning that order is treated as a betrayal. This reflects a real human experience. Many of us grow up accepting assumptions without ever examining where they came from. The book challenges that passive acceptance. It asks what happens when we begin to look at our beliefs not as truths, but as stories handed down to us. Another major theme is the cost of curiosity. In this world, curiosity is dangerous. It leads to punishment, exile, even death. Yet it is also the only path to freedom. The characters who survive are not the strongest or the most obedient, but the ones who keep asking questions, even when the answers hurt. This speaks to the quiet bravery required to think for yourself. In real life, questioning norms can lead to isolation or conflict, but the book suggests the alternative is far worse. A life lived inside borrowed thoughts, never truly your own. There is also a deep exploration of identity. The characters are shaped by where they are allowed to go, what they are allowed to read, and what they are forbidden to know. They realize that identity is not fixed, it is constructed, and like any construction, it can be dismantled and rebuilt. The library becomes a metaphor for the mind itself, filled with memories and narratives, some carefully organized, others hidden away. What matters is not how much knowledge it contains, but how it is used. Perhaps the most haunting theme is the illusion of safety. The library promises protection from chaos and ignorance, but that safety comes at a price. Freedom is limited, growth is controlled. The book asks whether safety without choice is truly safety at all. As you move through the story, there is a growing sense of unease, not because of constant action, but because of recognition. The systems in the book feel familiar. The justifications for control sound reasonable. The sacrifices seem small at first, until you realize how much has been taken. After finishing the book, what lingers is not a single plot twist, but a mood, a sense of quiet urgency, a reminder that knowledge is not neutral, that preserving information is not the same as understanding it, and that protecting truth requires more than just locking it away. For modern readers, the relevance is unavoidable. We live in a world where information is abundant, yet attention is scarce, where algorithms decide what we see, where history is debated, edited, and sometimes erased. This book invites us to ask, who controls our libraries today, and what stories are being quietly removed from the shelves? It also offers a kind of hope. The idea that stories, once learned, live inside us, that even if books are burned or banned, the act of understanding creates something that cannot be so easily destroyed. Knowledge carried by people, shared through conversation and curiosity, is far harder to erase. In reflecting on this book, it feels less like a fantasy novel and more like a meditation, a slow, careful examination of how civilizations rise and fall on the stories they choose to protect, and how individuals find meaning not by accepting those stories blindly, but by engaging with them honestly. The final feeling is quiet but powerful, a sense that learning is not just about accumulating facts, but about developing the courage to question, to doubt, and to change. That the most important books are not the ones preserved behind walls, but the ones that reshape how we see ourselves and the world. As the story closes, it leaves you with a gentle but persistent thought. The most dangerous thing is not ignorance, but certainty. The book that truly wouldn't burn is not bound in paper or ink, but written into the mind of someone brave enough to keep asking why. And maybe the question it leaves you with is simple. In your own life, which ideas are you protecting? And which ones might need to be challenged before they quietly become the walls of your own library? Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please consider liking and subscribing for more content like this. See you next time.